Hey, how are you? Author Stephen Candace here, baby. And this is my podcast, DCP Talks, every Friday night, 7 p.m. This is going to be like a live segment, even though it's not going live. I'm going to start maybe going live. I just not going to break or have any things unless something's really important. So, my podcast every Friday night, and you can get all the information on my website, www.authorstephencandace.com. So here we go, man. Let's get into another week. This is episode 6, and we are going to talk about my books. I got 58 books, man. 58. Like, really? Duh. How do you get 58 books? People are going to sit there and wonder, like, really? Are you that nuts? Are they really that? We have some are short and some are long. I started off like everybody else in this world, learning how to write. So when you learn how to write, you write short stories. Then they become longer the more you progress. That's what it comes down to. I got 24 Audible books as well. And that's the best part about it. When you got 24 Audible books, man, I can do whatever I like and do whatever you want. So let's enjoy our lives and everything around us. And we're going to, get things going. So let's do. All right. So we're going to discuss some of my books today. And two of my books we're going to talk about Ungrateful Dead. And we're going to talk about Bullhead. Yeah, so, there's been a lot of stories about both of them, and they're both narrated by the same person, Art Graza. So there you go. So that's pretty cool, eh? So why did I choose Art? Man, his voice, he kind of fits it perfectly. I chose him for Ungrateful Dead first, and that was pretty cool. He has that raspy voice. And that's actually kind of neat. So that he kind of fit the perfect part, as they would say, for him. So we do have some questions that were sent in from Mr. Steak Filet that read Ungrateful Dead. And he had some questions, and that's what he's going to say. So the first question he asked about the Ungrateful Dead was, what event starts the story at Camp Verde? Well, you know what? Camp Verde was just a large camp of a lot of regiments back of Confederate soldiers. So therefore, General Shibley, with his regiment of 400 men of volunteers, they went on a mission. And that's basically how this whole thing starts, right from camp. What does the main character want most? Well, I really think like everybody else, you want to succeed. General Henry Hopkins Shibley. He was very decorated, and this is a mission where, hey, he wants to succeed, and that's all there is. So he wants to succeed. And why is the goal important for them? Well, their goal was to go and outflank the Union soldiers before they get to Colorado Springs. But that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to get to and outflank the soldiers. Now, the obstacle that stands in their way, well, they didn't know what was the obstacles. Well, first of all, they're going to have the Apache or Comanche Indians when they cross the Rio Grande, they got to deal with, not to mention the Mexicans and Federales. Then you're going to talk about the Union soldiers that might be along the way. So, that could be quite interesting. Who is the main antagonist, do you feel? Actually, I thought it was One Direction, but I think I'm going to go with my answers to make everybody think about it. The Comanche Indians. So to me, I think they were the antagonists. What risk does the character face if he fails? Well, you're talking about back in the day. Like the soldiers or back in that era, when you fail, you were dishonored. You were like, your name was terrible. Even your death, you weren't remembered. It was terrible, so you think about it. What was the first major problem in this story? Oh, I think when they crossed the Rio Grande. And he agrees. He's like, do you think that? Yeah, I think so too. I think it's when they crossed the Rio Grande, and then he asked, what mistakes did General Shibley make? Oh, I think not listening to his corporal, not listening to his men, and what it comes to, the next question, which is a challenge, because in the middle of the story or during the story, the general and his men find treasures from an Indian burial ground. That's where everything starts. That's where everything changes. Everything changes in the story right then and there because they got the treasures and they desecrated the Indian burial ground. Well, that alone brings a whole new story, and then, basically that's how come it became deeper and deeper the further it got. Now, what secret or twist changes everything? Oh, I think the Indians. I think he didn't expect how they would react. I think he didn't expect how long this was going to go on for them. Because, this is a very large, it's a very large stake for him. And that's all there is to it. And then it says, what setbacks do I feel were better? Well, there's two setbacks in this story that really change everything. The first one is when after they desecrate the burial ground and then they're chased. The last one is the main one, and that's whenever they go to Colorado Springs, and then they don't realize the Union soldiers of how many they are coming. I think that's what really thinks, and Corporal Dan Copperfield tries to, sway the general because, hey, I mean, who tries to stop these guys? You got Indians, you got troops. I mean, it's crazy. So the biggest turning point of the story is the miscalculation. I agree with them. The miscalculation in Colorado Springs. The battle scene is one of the most intense things because it's awesome. It kind of fit. It kind of was like, there was a scene I loved in one movie years ago, and I had to make it almost the same where the Union soldiers were surprised. And basically it was like they walked into a trap and it was like a turkey shoot, just pluck them off one at a time. So to me, I really thought that was a good twist, except for they didn't realize how many Union soldiers were behind the first wave. So I think I gave you a little bit of a hint of a story. Like I said, the miscalculation, the battle scenes are great. The character doesn't solve the problem, and I agree with him. He's like, he could have never solved it. He asked if General Shively changed, his direction, could he have solved? No, it was going to end up the way it did, and that's it. The characters never changed since from the beginning. Everybody stays the same, and that's what I think is really, really cool. So, Ungrateful Dead. Hey, it's on Audible by Art Garasa. There we go, man. And now Cuervo, Mr. Cuervo, he asked about Bullhead. He said before he reads it, he would like to know some questions because he likes the cover and he likes alligator movies or crocodile movies. So I said, cool. So he says, what is the main ideal of the story? The main ideal of the story is a alligator goes on a feeding frenzy in a small town, Beaver Falls. That's basically what it is. Who is the main character? The main character is Joe Bell and his deputy Jesse, but Joe Bell is the main character through the whole thing. And what does the characters mostly want through this book? What? The town's safety. Nobody realizes anything. Like every story out there or every movie, you don't know what you're getting into until it's too late. Now your ass is digging and now you don't know what to do, right? And basically that's, what happens is the problem or conflict that the deputies and sheriff will face, lots of death. Lots of death. And it doesn't make a difference to me, women, children, man, dog, animals. I could care less. When it comes to this book, it was one of my first book and I was in a dark place, so there was a lot of death. That's all. And what type of book is it? It is a horror book. It is definitely a horror book. Just by the cover alone, you know that something's coming, right? And let's see. What tone do I want? I want that dark emotional tone. I want that scared shitless due to something chasing you. I've always been terrified about that. That's that shit that scared the shit out of me. I hate it. Same as going upstairs, basement stairs with no backing. I swear something's going to reach up and grab my damn foot. And I would I still am nervous about that shit, even though I know it's not. What event starts the story? Man, there's two brothers. They're two brothers that go down to play by the lake. Man, all I'll say is, man, that's an opening scene. That's a hook scene right there. Someone is scared as hell. I'm telling you right now. And important characters in this book is Deputy Jesse, and then you're going to find out later on is Mr. P. Mr. P is a very important person in this story. So, what is the main theme of the book? And it's a lot of alligator attacks. That's what it comes down to, man. The challenges the characters face along the way. Well, they didn't stop it in the beginning. Like everything else, it escalates. When things start to turn, you can't stop that shit. And that's exactly what goes down. What is the biggest turning point of the story? Man, once you figure out what you're up against, then you can try to deal with it. Like any situation in this world, you have to know what you're up against. You have to know what you're going to face, and then you can deal with that shit. What kind of ending will it have? Well, you know what? You're going to have to find out. There's an ending. Now, what makes this story unique? It is in the town of Beaver Falls, where evil lingers in every book of Beaver Falls. Beaver Falls is my special place. I started back in my first book, and everything takes place almost in Beaver Falls. So Beaver Falls is that little bitty horror town that you read about, like, whatever it is. Some stories have this. Well, Beaver Falls is Stephen Candace's little horror story. Who is my target readers? Oh, suspense readers. Suspense and thrills, man. That's what exactly comes down to. How long do I want the book to be? This is one of my short story books. So, you're talking, it's a thin book, but it's also on Audible. So if you have somewhere to go, it takes a couple hours. Like I used to take 3-hour trips, 4 hours to visit family and that. Well, this is the perfect book one way. Or both. You could just chill, listen to it. Hey, that's how I do it, man. So to me, that's what, these are short books, but they're both on Audible. And so to me, check it out on my website, man, www.authorstephencandace.com. Now we're going to get to Author's Corner. And this is Author's Corner. And this week, Author's Corner, we're going to talk about my new book. I just released The Prairie Life. So we're going to skip that one. We're going to talk about my 2 new books that are coming out. And I'm a third into John Tillis. Okay. John Tillis is a mining family. And the mining family owns their own mine on the back of another mountain, which is owned by the Dotery Mining Company, and they want their land. And it is a twisted, hard tale. This is a hard tale. It's a good one. And it's a lot of twists and turns in this damn thing. So to me, you're going to find out John Tillis. That's what I'm telling you right now. Then the second one I've been writing is called The Armada, right? Amazing. Okay. It's a tale of Astrid and Borg. And that's a Viking's tale, right? And that's a work in progress right now. And it's coming along good. And it's a tale for when the Vikings were leaving Spania, but then one of their settlements were destroyed before they left. And everybody and everything was destroyed and killed around them. So the queen wants her revenge. That's basically what it comes down to. And the king of Spania sends for his cousin who has the Armada. So there you go. We're going to find that out. Now, I am starting, which I am writing already, a third book. And this is going to come out shortly because this book is really moving fast. It's called A Quarter Mile, 1,320 feet to survival. That's it. So this is going to be a suspense thriller. You can take it horror, whatever you want. It's a thrill ride. This here is good. This is going to set in a place where all of a sudden they come into a dense fog. That's it. They have a quarter mile to get through it, and then they don't know if anything's in it or not. But you already know it's going to go down. So, yeah, the main focus on this one is going to be a good twist. I haven't did a horror book like this in a long time. This is a good, constant thrills, constant turns. I love it. Now, we're going to talk this week, we're going to talk about Writer's Corner. I think Writer's Corner is a good thing to do. So, this week we're going to talk about Writer's Corner. Now, we're talking about Writer's Corner. I told you last week we're going to write how to start your book, segment 1. All right? Now, first thing we're going to do is you're going to have to know your core idea. So before you're writing, answer this in one sentence. This book is about. Now, the example I'm going to give you, a small town man uncovering a dark secret. Okay, there you go. So you have to figure out what the book is about before you do anything. So this way you can get adjust. Then you're going to define the main focus. Number 2, write it down. Step 1, know your core idea. Step 2, define your main focus. It's a fiction or not a fiction. If it's a fiction, who is the main character? What do you want from that character? What's stopping them? And like an example, a lonely farmer wants love, but his past holds him back. There you go. So what happened before? Now, if it's a nonfiction, and then who is this for? And what problem does it solve? Example, this book helps beginners manage stress. There you go, see? Now we're going to go to step 3. Plan your opening. First 3 pages. Now, open book should hook the reader. That's all there is to it. You got one chance usually. They say 5 and dime. Now, so number 3, plan your opening. So your opening should hook the readers. There should be 3 pages. Basically, your action hook, if it's going to be an action hook, start with something happening or the storm hit at midnight. Got it? Then you're going to have a question hook. So you have an action hook, then you're going to have a question hook. Start with a mystery question. Why did everybody avoid that house? Or you can have an emotional hook. Start the feeling. I never planned to lose everything that day. There you go. So you got to basically hook them. You got 3 different hooks I gave you. And you come up with your own damn hook. But I'm just saying now. Now your 4th step. The basic story structure. So we're going to have an easy version. Let's just get you started. Let's get an easy version for you. The beginning should be 25% of your book. Now, 25% of your book, it should introduce the characters. It should show their normal life. And it should present any problems, if there is any going to be. So there you go, nice and easy. Now, your middle should be 50%. Think about it, quarter. Now, your middle is the bulk of your book. This is where everything happens. You have problems grow. You have conflicts. You have failures. You have turning points, twists and turns. This is where you beef it up. This is where you grab the readers really intensely with characters. I'm learning more and more that you got to define the characters and make them feel where people are feeling the whole thing. That's how you engage them. Now, the ending should be 25%. That is a final challenge. Resolution. You got this, right? The growth, the character growth, the resolution, the final challenge. That's your ending, man. So you got to resolve the whole thing. And then we can turn around and prepare your book. Now, once you completed the 4 steps, then you're going to look at the chapter starter formula. Nice and easy peasy. Then we're going to custom start the first chapter outline. Step 1, lock in your story. There you go. So you want to use for each chapter now. So each chapter, you want to have a setting. You want to have a problem. You want to have a reaction. Step 1, to lock in your story. Fill this in. Use this for each chapter. You have a setting. You have a problem. You have a reaction. And you have a cliffhanger. So, example, in a quiet town, something went wrong. He panicked, then discovered the truth. Now, next week, it'll be segment 2, build a character. That's what we're going to do next week. Okay, gave you 5 steps. Step 1, know your core ideal. Step 2, Ideal idea. Step 2, define your main focus. Step 3, plan your opening. Step 4, basic story structure. Step 5 will be once completed, you have your 4 steps, and then you start your chapter, lock in your story, and you're going to use each question for your chapter. So settings, problems, reaction, and cliffhanger. There you go, man. You got this shit, okay? Alrighty, now we're going to get to my Survivor Corner, baby. Survivor Corner is one of those first things, which is pretty cool. Yeah, Survivor last week. Well, as we know, okay, Savannah got voted out, Kyle went out, and Jenna went out, my girl. The first 3 weeks, that's boom, boom, boom. Man, that was like, man, and there's a lot of people playing games, this year. It's a lot challenging. When people ask, what do I think about it? They did a really good job because they picked the characters that they knew would make it interesting. And that's all there is to it. And everybody is. It is a good one. What do you think about Joe's game? Joe, I really thought was going home. But now Joe is hooked up with Kobe and he's hooked up with Coach. Damn, the 3 honorable men. I love that shit. Honorable men. Man, this is a game for $1 million. I don't know about you. Like Christian and what's that dude Russ who Planet the Idol? Oh, come on, guys. That's a genius move. No one's done that before. And Christian is just out there. He's one of the smartest people you could possibly see. You could see his computer rattling in his head. He would be a character to talk to in real life. I mean, I couldn't handle him, I'll be honest, probably. Same as like, Emily, Rizzo, Angelina. They're not going to make it far, man. We know this. Let's just go ahead and put it out there, people. They are not going anywhere. They're going to pluck off. After Savannah went, did you see Rizzo's face? So Rizzo ain't got a chance in damn hell. That poor little boy's going to sit there and fry like a turkey on Thanksgiving dinner. Now, Emily's she's just too abrupt. That's it. She has a too hard game. Angelina is trying to change, but people just still remember her as a threat. And that's what it comes down to it. It is a $1 million game. The ratings are $1 million. Now, what do we think about Cherie? Man, when we're talking about Cherie is one of the smartest players that there is. The longer she stays in the game, the further she gets because of that everybody likes her. Nobody wants to get rid of Cherie. That's her game. Man, you got to play this girl. This girl is going to, because she's going to stick with Ozzy. And she's playing her villainous game without trying to play a villainous game. But everybody knows she's playing her villainous game who's watching. But she has been noticed, man. She plays a lot of other shows too. So good for her. Like Ozzy. Ozzy is trying to play stealth. But Ozzy has been around way too long to play stealth. He's just been around, man. So it's not gonna cover. Like Camilla. Camilla's definitely out of her realm, even though she really did a good job with Challenge last time and won. But so if she comes around, which she's going to be a player, but they still think of her as a threat. I know they do. Suzanne, I don't think she's out there, any more than Emily and Rizzo and them. She ain't going to make it very far. Now, what do you think about Audrey and Dee? With Q, before I get there, these people are playing open wide. I really thought Q was going to change his game. I really thought Q was going to change his game. I can't believe he did it. Like, he didn't change his game. Therefore, as you're going to find out at the end of this, who was voted out, right? If you didn't watch it. Well, to me, Aubrey, you got to watch that girl, man. She is something deadly. Dee's something deadly. But they also know that people are on their heels snapping, and that's why they're upset. They didn't think they were going to be noticed that quick in the game. What were they thinking? Everybody knew they were players of this game. Everybody knew who they were. There ain't no such thing as I'm not going to be nice and clean. Right. Now, how about Mike White? Mike White has changed his game up a little bit. He's doing all right. I like my man White. I got him. I picked White and I picked Stephanie, which I thought was going home. Damn. Man, she's trying to play undercover and people came at her like, bam. I was like, damn. Now, what about my girl Genevieve? Boy, she needs to chill. Boy, she needs to chill out and watch the fight happen. Not just trying to, stir the shit up. People are going to see that as a threat, not as a common denominator, which she's hoping to do. I think it could hurt her. And you know what? And I didn't vote. I almost took her this time, and I didn't. So I took Stephanie. I took my girl Jenna, who was voted out first, and then I had an alternate I could pick. So I took Mike White. I really don't think Mike White is going to win, but Mike White will be my shield for Stephanie or my wife, her people. So we both play together, so we kind of strategize for people. I know we cheat, but who cares? It's Survivor. It's for our kitty. Hey, it's over $200, so forget that. I'm gonna win. That's all there is to it. Now, when it comes to Russ is going to blow up this game. He's sitting back trying to bullshit game, eh? Russ is really trying to push this thing through. Yeah, he needs to open up a little bit for sure. Same as like Emily and Angelina, they're playing a lost cause, and Emily already knows she's being held without people not telling her shit. So I mean, hey, it is what it is. So I think that's part of Survivor this week, and as you guys are going to find out, our man Q was voted out. So that leaves Q, Savannah, and Kyle, and Jenna are out. Of 24, there's 20 left. So the game is on. Survivor, Wednesday nights, baby. What a thrill ride. Season 50. Good job. Now, writer's humor. Sometimes I do a little bit of writer's humor instead of talking about politics. Screw that. Let's go with writer's side of humor. So, okay. Writers spend hours creating people that don't exist. Then we love arguing with them. Isn't that the truth? Man, we sit there and plan shit out and then we argue back and forth with stuff. It is funny what we do. The hardest part of writing is starting the first sentence, and that is true. And no matter what anybody says, you can put it down, but you're going to change it. But 9 times out of 10, it is. It's the hardest thing is the very first one. Writers can describe a dragon battle in detail, but we struggle with writing a simple email. Sometimes that is the very truth. Writing the simplest thing. You know what's funny about writing? The simplest words will lose your mind out of nowhere. Like just, you can't remember the word, how to spell it. You even are trying to look it up and trying to figure it out on your phone. It kills me, right? I'm like, come on, you know how to spell that shit. You say you're going to write 1 page, and like everybody else in the world, like myself, oh no, it ends up being a 4-hour day. It happens all the time. Coffee is not a drink for writer. It is a tool. I believe that. We got a coffee right here. It is a tool. And it's not because it keeps you awake. Not at all, actually. I think it's better than pop, and I don't really drink water a lot. Well, I don't drink water a lot, so I think coffee to me is fine until like 7 o'clock, and then I usually change up. Now, characters rarely follow the plan that the writer makes. Yeah, it happens so much where all of a sudden you have a character, what they're going to do, and that shit goes sideways. Bloop, there it goes sideways, baby. I mean, yeah, we don't, no. We just don't, it doesn't happen. Writers do research that looks suspicious in the search history. Man, you have to look up some weird shit. I even had to look up a nude beach, and it was for a story, and it wasn't the pictures. It was about a nude beach. And it was funny. It's like you feel where all of a sudden somebody's on your computer, which nobody's on my computer, but my granddaughter once in a while, which now I've got another computer. But yeah, I was terrified that she'd go and see a nude beach and think, what am I doing? And so I mean, so editing means discovering how many mistakes you made yesterday. That is the gospel truth. I suck at spelling. I suck at English. Always have. Since I was a kid, I failed English or science. And it's funny, whenever I graduated, I actually made honors. in science, so that's hilarious. And then writing now, I write. But I've said this before, get yourself a good editing program, whatever you do. It saves the fucking day. That's all, guys. Get a good editing program, man. It's good for you. The best stories of ideas appear when you're trying to sleep. Isn't that the truth? That's how I got that book, A Quarter Mile. I literally was early in the morning. My wife, I had to take her to work. There was so bad a fog, couldn't see. It was so dense. It was unbelievable where I was driving slow. And when I got home, I laid down and I was like, boom, book. That would be an amazing book. And sure enough, I was like, hell yeah, it is. But it happens. Most book ideas come when a writer's lying down taking a nap or out of nowhere. It just happens. Writers sometimes read their own work and think, wow, I did that. I actually write that all the time. I said that one of the best writer lines you could write is, you can't make that shit up even if you try, because you just made it up. I think that is amazing. And it's true, right? The villain is often more fun to write than the hero. Oh, hell yeah. You know, when you write about twists and turns and things happening, of course, that's exactly what comes down. It is fun. It is fun to change up. It is fun to do a murder. It is fun to do different things. So to me, I mean, you know, writers talk to ourselves. Oh, I'm terrible, man. I walk around my house. My wife always asks me, what did I say? She thinks I'm talking to her. I'm terrible. Oh, I'm the worst. We talk all the goddamn time to ourselves. But, you know, when it comes to writing, our writer's first draft is usually chaos. It's everywhere. We don't know where it's going. That shit could be up and down, left and right and center. Sometimes the characters solve the story problem before the writer does. Well, actually, you know what happens is you write a scene and next thing you know, you see something next to it. Done. Solves it. Or you didn't know it was going there. That happens a lot with a lot of writers. We don't know where it's going sometimes until it's done themselves, right? Sometimes the characters solve the problem. We just said that shit, didn't we? We sure did. Writers celebrate finishing a chapter like they won a championship. It is so true. You go, 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 and you don't stop until you're done with that chapter. You're like, yeah, done. I'm like, okay, I'm done. And you feel so proud of yourself like a peacock. Duh. Plot twists sometimes surprise a writer. Yeah, it does. Because sometimes you set yourself up without knowing you set yourself up. See, when you're writing, you write so fast because you're writing about a character or what's going on at that moment in time. Where next thing you know, your brain, if you're a true fast writer like myself, my brain is moving way faster than I write. So then as I'm writing, it will say, boom, what do you think about this? And then I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. Right? Like, plot and twist sometimes surprise me more than anything because it's right in front of me. You know, when the writing process is basically you write, you doubt yourself, you edit, and then you copy yourself and then you repeat yourself. And that's what it comes down to. Writers are like artists. You're constantly micromanaging everything you do. I mean, really, you know, a quick writing session can turn into an entire afternoon. Amen to that shit. It sure can. It's like anything else you do. If you like doing something you're doing, ask anybody, no matter what it is. You may start 5 minutes and it turns into the frickin' lifetime of it. Writers may live in the real world, but our minds live in their stories. So true. And like a story you watch on TV or listen to on Audible, you can't forget it sometimes. It captivates you that good where you don't quit thinking about it. That's a good story. Like this new book I'm writing, A Quarter Mile. Yeah, I still keep thinking about this, what I'm going to do with it. Writing can be hard work, but it's fun moments along the way which make it more enjoyable and creative. And that's the truth about everything. You know, you have to love what you do, and I love what I do. I finally have grown to tell everybody, my writing is like a job. I write every day I can, and I write for hours. And that's probably why I write fast. I'm going to start using my microphone again, which is going to make me twice as fast. Like last week for the Quarter Mile, I wrote one day 30 pages, right? If I'd used my microphone, I could have wrote 50. So I'm already 100 pages in the book, right? Same as John Tillis, I'm 100 pages in. So it just depends on how far I want to take this. Now we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to go to this week's about senior facts, okay? Let's talk about senior facts. You know, many of us seniors retire, okay? And once we retire, the happiness of times really do of life begin. You don't have to work, you know, and if you set everything precedence right, that means you have your family, you have your things right. And as long as you can live comfortably where don't be greedy. That's it. If you're not a greedy person, everything comes easy for in life of everything, and that's the truth. People often become more patient and calmer the older we get, which is true. Seniors usually love, redo that one. Seniors usually have decades of life stories and experiences to share, so that's why, you know, people should listen sometimes. That wisdom pays off. Many seniors start new hobbies after retirement. I did. I know a lot of seniors are starting, you know, that start stuff. Why not? Seniors often enjoy, we like gardening. We like a lot of walking and reading or chilling. We don't care for TV too much as people would think. We don't just sit there and watch TV. Yeah, we can. But anybody who is a true person and likes to do shit, we're not just going to sit there and do that shit. It's not going to work out. Seniors often enjoy gardening, walking. We just read that shit. Grandparents often have a special bond with their grandchildren because the grandchildren get to know us. My grandparents I never knew them and they never knew me. I knew they were grandparents, basically. They were nice, but no. These kids know us. They literally talk to us. We know them. Some seniors go back to college and take new courses. That is the truth. Matter of fact, I did. I took a computer course. There you go, guys. Get a computer course going. It's really good for you to do that. Traveling is a popular activity during retirement. Yes, it is. We like board games, puzzles, card games. We like to do a lot of drinking socially. That's seniors. Love the best storytellers because of our life experiences. And sometimes some of the life experiences sound so out there that it couldn't be true, but we have a lot of good stories. Seniors often appreciate the simple things like family time and nature and stuff like that. It is funny. It's so true. Technology is becoming growing amongst the seniors. We're becoming very adaptable. The one thing I've learned was Richard Blanchard, Who Moved My Cheese? Many years ago, I read that, and it's about change. If you don't change, you become a dinosaur and become extinct. That's seniors. So we have to change. If you want to live and become fun, hey, baby, that's it. A lot of writers and artists became famous after they retired, which is true. I did most of my work after I retired as far as paintings. I've sold so many. Life expertise often gives seniors strong problem-solving skills. True. You've been there before. You've seen it before. You've heard it before. That is the definition of each, and that's what it is. Seniors help pass down family traditions and history. That is true in our family. So very true. I'm the starting point of our family, and that's what it comes down to. And I took a lot of my traditions and brought them down, and now it's followed through. I love it. I love it when it follows through. I'll leave you with the quote of the week. That was our senior just knowledge, just so you guys know. I will leave you with the quote of the week. I write them in all my books. And this week's quote is, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Think about it. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Now, please note that you can provide any feedback or any issues if there's anything you want to talk about. You can play devil's advocate, no holds barred. You can send that feedback or questions to author Stephen Candace at gmail.com. If there are any topic you want to talk about, just ask. We will chat with you soon. Holla! And have a great day, and looking forward to your next adventure on DCP Talks is out.